Hello, friends. You are going to be so proud of me. I cleaned my craft room. It's so lovely in here. But what we're going to do today is we're going to make borders for my Smash Book journal, but we're going to make them fancy borders, not just your plain Jane borders. So I have my scissors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start cutting up colors. And I don't like the raggedy edge, so I'm going to take that off. And I have this bright yellow paper because I also found bright green paper. And I don't care that it has little words on it. I don't care anything like that. So we're going to get that one. We're going to get that one. Let's cut them into like border sizes. And I tend to like to do all the way around my 2 pages to make them visually go together. So I might do that. Okay, there's yellow. And then this is the green I thought would go good with that yellow, and it does. So let's cut this. And now I wouldn't want to cut this way because then I would have a whole word. But I'm just going to cut out. So one way you can start to do borders is by choosing a color palette that you like. And these may be too big. I may have to cut down every single one of them, but that's fine. Oh, look, is this more color borders? No, those are words. Never mind. I was like, color borders? Okay, so now this is blue. I'm going to go through, and I just pulled out a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to pull this corn out because I have more corn. That's yellow, red, brown. And I like brown. I like dark and brooding. If you don't like brown, then you should do happy friendly. More corn. I did some gray. I did some purple. There's blue. I know I got 3 blues. I'm going to cut this in a way that makes it not be a ship anymore, right? So instead of kind of cutting it this way where you would see lots of the ship, I'm going to go opposite of that. And then when you have that on your page, it just looks like stuff. It doesn't look, and I'm going to cut it at different sizes. But it doesn't look like a ship anymore. It just looks like stuff. Garbage, garbage. I emptied my garbage. I'm so proud of me. There, this says heart. It's kind of a nice word. But I'm not doing words right this second. So let's make these, to get them about the same width, we're going to have to go this way. And then that does cut up that heart, which is good for me. I like that. And I shake. I'm sitting here shaking, and I'm like, oh, I better tell them I shake. I guess I don't always have to tell you I shake, but I generally do in case anybody's new here. I don't have some tragic malady or anything like that. I just, all I do is I work on my computer and I work in my craft room. And so my whole day is spent using my wrists. And so I shake. And I wouldn't mention it, but I'm sitting here watching the paper flutter and I'm like, oh, it's the shaking thing. I don't really like that bright white, so I'm going to cut that off. And then maybe I could get this little piece of brown and blue. Fun. Okay. Oh, let's do the corn. And then I'm going to go through and do the rest of them without you because you don't need to sit and watch me cut paper. But I seen these corns and I'm like, that is so cool. And then I seen this corn and I'm like, oh, I am going to have a corn fest. I grew up in the country where, you know, knee-high by the 4th of July was something that we all said, and we all knew. Like, if the corn was knee-high by the 4th of July, it was going to be a good year. We would go to the farmer's market and pick up corn. And then my dad used to put it in in the fire, and we would wrap it in wet. Maybe, no, we didn't wrap it. We soaked it in big garbage cans of water for like a couple of days to get it really, really wet. And then when you put it in the fire, it would singe the outside ears, but it wouldn't burn them. And that is really crooked. Who cut this? Was it a drunk sailor? If you know, you know. So that was always really fun at our picnics to have the corn, and you brought it out and it would be all burnt on the outside and delicious on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it this way. And I'm going to cut it this way. And I want to be really close to the corn so that it's not obviously corn anymore, right? I'll know it's corn, but nobody else will. Oh, and you will too. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out of the corn talk. So, actually, I have one more thing to show you before I go to work by myself for a minute that is always really good to have for these kind of projects. So now let's go this way. Oop, oop. Little jump there, not just shaky, but I had a little snush off to the side. Oh, those are so cute. I love them. They're gonna make such a good background. And I've never really made magazine collage backgrounds in this book, so I don't know how many pieces I need. But we're just gonna make as many as we have. Okay, these are the things. Let's do purple, because then I can show you what my thought is. And I'm going to do probably purple and gray, because that's a color combination that I like very much. Did I get that same lady twice? I did get that same lady twice. Okay, so this is kind of purple, gray, and black. But I wanted to show you this little piece, because a lot of times you'll see these in cooking magazines, and they just make such a nice little border piece because they already have texture, they already have that color. Boy, this one could go purple, or it could go over by my really bright ones. But okay, I am going to go back to cutting my papers up, and I will be back, and we're gonna zhuzh up make our borders fancy together. Okay, so we have, there's a weird mix of browns in here. So we have kind of caramely browns, which are beautiful. That brown, which is beautiful. I have like mauve, which I'm almost thinking I put over to leave these caramely browns in there. I'm going to put the mauves over to here and leave these guys here. Maybe they need to go here. I'm not sure. So now let's just start putting some of these together. And I have to check. Oh, this is right side up. So this one will be upside down because half my book is upside down. Boop. This side is right side up and this side is upside down so that I don't have to mess with working upside down. I don't think it'll matter in this case. All right, how wide are those? See, I don't want to get rid of all of the backgrounds. Now we're going to go and make them a little skinnier. Oh, good. So we'll cut off some of these almonds. And while I do this, I just want to kind of keep mixing them up as much as I can. I don't want the same, you know, kind of look to be all the way around. And I can kind of trick, these are kind of skinny to begin with. Oh, wow, I'm a bad cutter. Now, I'm not super fussy, but I don't like them when they're wonky. You might like to cut them in circles or in shapes, and that's great too. I just don't like that. Okay, maybe this one over here. This one is cool. I kind of think of them as boring or cool, like the blue ones are boring, This one's kind of cool, so I'm going to cut that one in half so we get 2 out of it. Kind of put it around. This one's not as cool, so we'll just hack off a bit of that. I like that one. This one, we're going to take more of the sea than the ship. Cool again, split it in 2. That's very pretty to me. Very pretty. Okay, let's go ahead and, okay, now let's talk about how I do borders and colors. So in the real world, dark is always towards the bottom and light is on the top. So you would have darker pieces towards the bottom and work your way up to lighter pieces at the top in the real world, right? And I kind of like, for as crazy and wacky as I make things, I kind of like the world to behave as physics would. I know that's ridiculous when I make people with big heads and all that, but I do like physics, and I want my designs to operate according to the laws of physics. So I have dark at the bottom, light at the top. All right, so let's see. We have glue. I love Nuvo glue. It just always works. Okay, so, and I'm not 100% sure I have enough to get all the way around, but we're gonna give it the old college try. I am 3 seconds in and I got glue all over my fingers. Me. Now it's gonna be interesting because this one's gonna be upside down from this one, and the darks are gonna be opposite because I'm doing one side of the journal right side up and the other side upside down. Just for my own personal comfort. Uh-oh. I didn't glue to that edge because I flopped my edge all the way over. So let's put just a little bit of glue in there. Carry on. Ooh, these are kind of medium blues. Let's do a segue piece between the bottom and the top. Did I see another segue piece? No. Yes, kind of. Sort of, kind of. Now I need a little bit of a longer piece to get me up there. Ooh, tiny piece. Okay, if we squeeze that one in there, we have enough to get it. Let's squeeze it this side. So let's do that. Actually, I'm going to put the light side in because then I can always color it easier. And that ought to just fit right there, right? Okay, let's do this side. Are those all stuck down? So we have a bunch of pieces. We may have to find a little bit more blue, but you can always do that later. That's not, or what I often do, and this depends on, you know, what art supplies you have, is if I don't have the color to put in, I will just, ooh, I wish that wasn't there. I will just paint it with, there we go. Oh, I like that better. I didn't like that white, bright overlay. Okay, back on track. And yep, I'm a little shy on the blue. And what I would never do is I would never do this much of it with what I have and then leave a whole straight line, because then when you do the whole straight line, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. When you leave a spot here, here, and here, then when you come back in with those other blue papers, it's going to be like, it's going to feel like it was always like that. Okay, let's do our next one. Let's do our corn. Corn is so fun. Okay. So, let's get the good pieces of corn. I do think I want to trim it a wee bit off. I think this one's going to be fun to play around on. That's kind of a plain piece. We can get to that later. Let's cut this one down. And then cut this one in half. Okie dokie. Well, let's lay these out and see how many of the boring green pieces we need, because it'll be nice to have them in there. You want variety. You don't want it all to be the same thing. Let's do this way. Let's do this way. One down here. Yep. And one there, and maybe one here. Nope, too much of the same thing. One down here. So I'm gonna need maybe 2 pieces. Maybe 3 pieces, I don't know. All right, let's just start sticking them down and then we'll figure it out afterwards. So I want this one to go high enough up that this one can come down, because I like this piece. I like when they overlap and make a thing. All right, this guy is going over here, so I need another piece of this up there. And then that's gonna come over there. Corn is so pretty. All right, now I do think I want a little piece of plain coming down here. And these are the only 2 making the borders I'm gonna make with you, because I got lots of videos about how to make borders. But it's been a minute since I made one, so I figured I'd make some borders with you guys. And I wanted some borders. So why am I making borders in this book? Well, if you have a whole bunch of borders made and you find some interesting stuff, you don't have to think, oh, what am I going to do in the background? What should I, what should I start with? How am I going to get this page started? You can just jump right in and start crafting, where if you have to stop and think about what your background's going to be, then it's not as fun to craft. And now that I have this, will that just fit? Come on, it doesn't quite fit. What about this guy? That guy doesn't fit, but he feels a little bit more like he fits. I think I'm just lying to myself. Anyways, if I have a wild hair to do a little craft project, it's a lot more fun to do it if I don't have to do what I did today, dig out 1,000 magazines, cut all these borders, blah, 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 or not use a border, which is fine also. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bridge this with this little piece of fluff right there. Just a little piece of fluff right there. An interesting piece of fluff, but fluff. And then we're going to have a little piece of fluff right there. And I do think a fair bit when I'm doing this, I wouldn't want to have these 2 pieces of corn going this way and then having this one that looks like it might actually be the side of that one sitting right next to it, because then all of a sudden your border that was really super organic and cute and clean starts to look like, oh, you just stuck a whole bunch of corn down, which is true, and it's cool. So there. Fight me on it. Here we go. Boop. That's going down there. Desi, while you were gone, Desi tried to scare me, and it didn't work. I did a little jump, but I didn't scream, which is what she and I try to get each other to do. And then, and it's fun. We enjoy doing it. It's weird, fun. And then one day I was in the kitchen and I was like, oh my God, or I was in the hallway coming up to the kitchen. I'm like, oh, she's in there. I'm going to get her. And I came around the corner and I just stopped myself. It was my son, Josiah. And he definitely is not made to be given startles randomly and would scream like a little girl and would not appreciate the fun of being scared out of your wits. So that was a funny day. That was a funny day. I think these are very pretty. I knew I would like these corns. Okay, do I put it down there and then move the green around? I think I do. I think otherwise it's gonna look very corn heavy on the top and then nothing on the bottom. So that's what we're gonna do. There we go, a little piece. And I'm gonna keep that corn, extra corn bits, because I feel like in a pinch I could use it as a piece of green if I need it. Now, normally in my real journals, if I was just doing this for myself and not for you, I would spread these out through the book. I would have some backgrounds and then some not backgrounds and then some backgrounds just to keep it interesting. But when I do flip throughs, I find it's easiest to talk about it if they're all in a row. Because then I'm not like, oh, and here's another background I did. And then I'm annoying myself when I have to listen to myself again. First I'm here, right? First I'm here jibber jabbering with you. And then I have to go in the other room and spend the exact same, maybe a little bit more amount of time listening to me jibber jabber, and also having to take out all the ums and the uhs and the riffraff. Okay, so now let's see. I know at least I have 3 different ways that we're going to put fun stuff on here. Okay, so the easiest way is little cutouts from magazines, right, while you're doing stuff. And so I already have some stuff cut out that we're going to put on one of these pages. So I have these little arrows, that's cute. I have this flower doogie that's cute. And this is just finding little stuff that you think would be cute on a page. What we can do is, I'm going to put this little flower down here in the corner. Now you'll notice it is not a feature image, right? Like this little flower is not going to jump off the page because it's very similar in color to the border that's already there, right? So this isn't going to be like, woo-woo, this is just a little something to doodle, to outline, to just have fun with. And then let's go ahead and do we want to put this little unicorn? My granddaughter called them unicorns. It was the cutest thing. And now she's like, they're unicorns now. And I'm like, but I liked when they were unicorns. I think I'm going to put him down here too. You could have them all around the page. And sometimes you want to, like I'm keeping it very much, like I wouldn't have this flower in the middle and the unicorn way over. I'm going to probably have something that comes up this way and bypasses it. So that's something you want to consider. I think I'm going to do my little arrows down this way. Oop, I got a little house. I don't need a little house. Thank you, little house, though. And you can put as much or as little of this stuff as you want. It's your journal. You get to pick. Are your borders, you know, a lot of times I'll paint the borders with flowers or things like that in my real journals, but this is supposed to be a little fluffy journal. I do have trouble with fluff. I tend to still want to do all the things, but I'm trying to condition myself in this journal for it to be quick and stick and all that. So that is something you can do, put, you know, little other cutouts from magazine collage. Now on this side, let's do washi tape. So I'm looking for something that is, or a couple somethings actually. I think I have a lot of, ooh, that would be perfect. Look at that, that's beautiful. That's Diane Reeve, no. That is, let's use these both. These are both Dina Wakley tapes in here. And I'm going to do it this same way. I have the bottom down here, so I'm going to put darker things at the bottom. So this tape that is a little bit darker, where'd my scissors go? Let's not use good scissors on tape. Let's avoid that. Okay. Well, let's do top and bottom and see if we want to do side to side or if we want to do side to side with that other tape. Or where did it go? It's missing already. Literally had it 2 seconds ago. Isn't that funny? Here's some Diane Reevely tape that kind of looks like it could go. What do you think? I feel like those go together. Oops. And then I'm going to cut this off right at there. And then we can put another one on there to fix it. Oh, that's fun. They're besties. They're friends in real life. And it's fun that we can use both of their washi tapes together. There we go. Geez, I think this tape is old. Because it is not tearing very well. And that's why you should use your stuff. Because if you don't use it, then it goes bad. It dries out or it tears funny. Let's try to pull it nicer. Oh, it's already tearing. Oh, that's because of the old tear stuff. Okay, let's see if we can get it to go. I think it's going. So I need 3, I need 4. 4 bumps. Let's just hack it off right about there. There we go. Ooh, that's fun. Now where's the other Dina Wakley one I had that looked so cute? It can't have gone far. Well, I guess we're gonna have to live without it. Okay, so then the last way, let's go ahead and stick this down. I'm using the back of my nail. You can use the back of your glue bottle, but washi tape is not exactly super sticky to begin with, so if you don't rub it down, it'll just be hard to work with. Okay, the last way you can do fun stuff is, this one's full. I don't think I can do this one, but I got sent, sometimes Joggle sends you stuff when you buy, and they sent me these Diane Reevely sheets. And let me show you what I was kind of thinking about doing with the other ones. Okay, so let's go pink. Let's see if it works. Is this just paper? No. No, this is sticker. Yeah. Hold on, let me pull up the sticker. Which, this is kind of a cool idea. Right? And just put a little doodle there. And you could measure it if you wanted to, if you were so inclined. Oh, look, perfect. We have a hole. So let's go right over that hole with this. Can't see that much. Okay, so now we need something that isn't quite so light, or that's maybe opaque. Oh, there we go. Ooh, we have big ones. All right, let's do this. I don't want to tear it. And we'll have this one come down. And there's another one. And I'm going to have this one come up. Diane Reevely's the queen of the doodles. She has classes on doodles. God bless America. And then I think I want to do, I like the arrows. I like the arrows. Let's just stop it there. So we're going to do purple, pink, blue, teal. And again, you can line them up perfectly, get a ruler out. That just, by the time I get done doing anything, there's so much stuff on the page that no one would ever notice. Nope, I want to turn. We're doing the turn. But I do want to get to the red, so we're going to skip whatever that is. There we go. And then oop, almost did it upside down. This is kind of a topsy-turvy book anyways. Nobody would have noticed. Okay, okay. So fun. So yeah, if you have a little sticker book, I have a sticker book of vintage things that I got that would be perfect here. And that, to me, just looks really cute. And yeah, it goes off and on, off and on. But that's kind of, I'm going to take this and use the things. And then, now that I have a couple of those, though, I feel like, didn't we take that page out? Let's do a couple more. Who's just ripping all their pages out of here? There it is. All right, let's see if some of them do more colorful. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Ooh, I like that. More than once, so that it looks deliberate. If you do something once and you screw it up, then it looks like you screwed something up. But if you do it several times, then you look like you did it on purpose. Like that. That's adorable. All right, let's do the greens now. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, could be fun. Oh, that shows up a lot better, huh? We're going to put another one of those down here. Move it around. So you want it to be all around. You wouldn't want it to, like, I'm probably going to put it over here, even though there isn't a spot there, like a break in the border. Because when things line up, it draws your eye. Oops. Oh, look, there's another little piece. So now that it's kind of catty corner, it won't draw your eye. Now I want to do a couple more. Let's do a couple more. Boop. Boop. Just makes it a little bit more interesting. And nobody's gonna, like, this isn't jump off the page, make your heart go pitter-patter interesting. This is a little tiny bit of something to just move around the page. I like that. Do I want to do them all? I have two more. Two more. So the green seems to work better down here. Not great, but a little bit better. And we're going to put one right there. I think this is going to be too long. I am going to watch this one because I don't want it to bother my arrow. That's why you use your play scissors for something like that. That way you're not tempted to use your good scissors to cut glue. Yeah, that's really cute. Okay, I love that. And I may have to glue this down if it starts to annoy me. But what'll happen is I will put something real on it. And then it won't, it's only coming up right now because it's the only thing on this page to catch. So I am going to take all this rigmarole and finish my pages. But I hope that helped you. Tara Jacobsen, Artsy Fartsy Life.